You've worked hard, saved well, and now you're thinking about giving back, maybe to your kids, your grandkids, or a cause you care about. But should you wait and pass that wealth on later or give while you're still around to enjoy the impact? Let's talk about how to make the decision with confidence. Today, we're going to talk about should you gift money while you're alive or leave a legacy?
It's another episode of Your Retirement Elevated. I'm Walter Storholt alongside Scott Dugan, financial advisor that, as always, is going to walk us through important topics in the financial planning world. And this is a really good one today, Scott, because I'm sure that this is a question that you get a lot. Do I give money while I'm still alive, or do I wait until I pass away and leave it all then? And I don't know if there's ever a right answer to that, right?
I think there's a right or wrong answer, but I do think it's a personal choice. And I can tell you, after doing this almost 25 years, it has really changed people's perception of how they should give, or if they're really inclined to do so. When I started my career, people were really focused on, hey, I want to make sure my kids and grandkids are better off than we were. We want to give them as much as possible. But a lot of that was people had pensions and Social Security, and so they really kind of lived on that money, and so they could delay that money to give it away. And I would say now that the responsibility is put on us, the retiree, to save money, in our 401ks, our IRAs, it's a shift. We're saying, hey, we got to save this money for us because we don't know if we're going to need it or how long we're going to live. But also, people want to leave something behind if it is possible. But I think their big shift, Walter, is people are thinking, hey, should we really save it for later, or should we keep it and have experiences along the way? Be here to do that. So we're going to walk through a process today to really determine what's the best option for you.
Yeah, we're going to give you 4 things to think about, things that you need to understand, or even actionable items to help you get a clear answer for your situation when it comes to this question. So, Scott, let's dive into the first tip for folks here, and that's to make sure you're covered. What do we mean by that?
Well, Walter, I'm sure you've flown lately, but when you get on an airplane, they give you the safety briefing. What do they always say? When the mask comes down, what do you do?
Yeah, put it on first.
Put yours on first before you assist others.
Yes.
Same thing here. Make sure that you're covered. Make sure you are taken care of, because your retirement needs come first. And we want to make sure that we plan for longevity, healthcare, inflation, and just the curveballs of life when we have emergencies. And particularly if you are married, you need to factor in your spouse's needs if they outlive you. Because not only is it, continuing to need assets or cash flow to live their lifestyle, there's a pretty large tax impact when you leave a surviving spouse. You've got to factor that into place. So after you've done that, once your foundation is secure, then you can give from a place of confidence, not fear.
And what a needle mover that must be. I'm just picturing your airplane analogy, right? If I'm trying to put other people's masks on first, well, a few things. One, I'm running out of air. I haven't done it myself, so I don't really know what I'm doing. And I'm scared because I'm trying to save all these people around me, and there's a ton of fear going into it. Whereas if I've gotten my own mask on first, well, now I've got the confidence of having done it. And so when I go to help others, I'm going to be doing it with that position of confidence rather than trying to help everyone out of fear. You can just imagine how much more impactful and smoother that's going to go.
Oh, absolutely. And where, again, putting yourself first, I know it's very difficult for some people, but that's really the baseline of planning. And again, you can move forward, because once you've done that, then step 2 is let's clarify your motivation. What are you thinking about? Ask yourself, why do you want to give? Is it maybe you want to help your kids with a house, education, or maybe it's a life transition? Or is it really you want to support a cause that matters to you, maybe beyond? A lot of people like to volunteer their time, but if there's extra resources, maybe they want to give, via check as well.
Yeah.
And, again, some people, they give because they want to see the impact now. And that can be incredibly rewarding to see that money in action, see that impact, and see the benefit of helping someone, take that next step. And so definitely, I'm a big proponent of that. So whether you give now or later, make sure your plan reflects your values, and that's paramount.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I'm just curious before we move on to the third and fourth ways that people can assess their situation when they're trying to figure out whether to give money while alive or wait and give it kind of as a legacy, post life. Where do people usually fall on that spectrum through all your years of experience of meeting with people? Do most want to give while they're alive, wait till the end, or some mix of the two?
I've seen the shift of waiting till the end to give this pot of gold, give these resources. I would say in the last, especially 5 years, I've seen more people want to do things now, whether it is help a child with a house or a grandchild, help with education. What we're seeing is really family trips, take an entire family on a trip every few years.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to do that, right?
Those are very, very rewarding. And so I think the trend right now is to give it now, not necessarily to delay everything and give it while you're gone. Because think about it, with longevity, if we're living into our 80s, let's say, well, that means our kids are probably in our 60s. So you're giving them money potentially at their highest earning years, which could be a tax situation, depending on what you give to them. And again, they may not have the energy or wherewithal to do things at that time. So I think that trend, I like. Let's do it now. Impact your kids, grandkids, and see it, the look on their face. Live those experiences with them. That's going to be probably a better choice for a lot of people.
Well, you bring up a really interesting point with the taxes and the timing of that passing of the assets. It dovetails very nicely into your third point when we try to evaluate this situation, and that's to really dig deep and start understanding the gifting rules and the consequences for various ways of giving money.
Absolutely. So we're talking about gifting. So in 2025, you can give $19,000 per person per year without triggering a gift tax filing. So that's important. So you don't have to do paperwork.
Okay.
All right. So now if you're a married couple, that means that's $38,000 per recipient. So let's say you've got a son and a daughter. Mom and dad can give them each $19,000 or $38,000 each. Okay, so that can go a long way for sure. If you're wanting to do it in a situation where there's no triggering of let's say, filing paperwork with the IRS.
Okay.
Now, certain payments like tuition or medical expenses paid directly don't count towards the gift tax limit. So that's important to understand depending on what you're giving it for. Now, if you're 70 and a half or older, you definitely want to consider qualified charitable distributions, or QCDs for short, from your IRA to pay a nonprofit like a charity or your church. So we have a scenario in our firm where if someone is charitably inclined and they're below 70 and a half, we do those calculations, and sometimes we'll fund what's called a donor advised fund, meaning we'll give a gift to that donor advised fund, and then we gift out of that donor advised fund over a period of time. So a perfect example, we just had a client, we worked through the details at age 65. They give about $10,000 per year. Well, right now, giving $10,000, they're not getting to itemize that. They're just losing, they're doing a standard deduction. We did a calculation and said, well, what if we did 5 years of gifting? So $50,000 we put in that donor advised fund. Now we got a tax deduction for the entire $50,000 in 2025. Now they'll still send their same $10,000 out, but they'll do it from the donor advised fund. Now, once they reach 70 and a half, then we shift to qualified charitable distributions and distribute directly from the IRA. So it nullifies that cash flow. So a very powerful scenario to do that. And this is where you really want to work with a qualified professional, work with an advisor to make sure your generosity aligns with your tax strategy. And Walter, that's where we see a lot of mismatch, is where there's all these different strategies out there. But if the advisor is just a financial advisor and doesn't really dig into the tax piece, or like our firm, we have a CPA and tax preparers on staff where we're coordinating those efforts to make sure our clients get every dollar worth of benefit out of their charitable donations.
Is your retirement strategy working as hard as you are? Get the answers you deserve with Elevated Retirement Group's information-packed toolkit. Inside, you'll get Scott's book, Exceptional Retirement, along with essential insights covering the 5 key areas of retirement planning, strategies to keep more of your hard-earned money, and how to choose your winning retirement team. Take control of your retirement today. Click the link in today's show description to claim your toolkit at no cost to you.
And you say the key word there, Scott, coordination, and that is certainly the key. Let's dovetail to our final one here, and point number 4 is to weigh the impact. Take yourself through a thought process of weighing the impact of your various choices, and this is a great exercise to finish with because it should, hopefully, I would imagine, Scott, provide some clarity to folks.
Yes. And so when you're weighing that impact, will your loved ones benefit more from receiving support now or later? Now, I have, situations where our clients know that they are giving nominal assistance right now to a loved one. And kind of their philosophy is, hey, we don't want to rob them of their ambition to go out there and keep going. And, hopefully they get good traits and habits along the way. And then when they do receive a larger sum, they'll deal with it a little bit better. We've got other scenarios where they know deep down that loved one is not probably ever going to have the skills or the thought process to be diligent with dollars. And so they're going to structure through their estate plan how to meter those dollars out effectively. So one strategy is, if you've got a loved one that maybe isn't the most motivated or isn't the greatest with money, I've got a client that in their documents, the money will be held in trust. And for every dollar they make in wages, the trust will pay them $1.
Oh, that's kind of a cool setup.
Yeah. So there's a way
to slice the pie.
Yes. Now, there are circumstances where if there's medical expenses, emergencies, purchasing a home, the trustees can distribute more dollars. And sometimes they'll build in, until age 65, it's every dollar they're going to get $1. And at 65, certain percentages will be distributed. So again, it's all dependent on the person's situation and what you're trying to do. Now, because again, are they emotionally and financially mature enough to use the gift wisely? And sometimes you can try to exert as much control as possible. Sometimes you have to let go. Depends on your makeup.
Yeah.
But when you're giving to charities, are you looking at big national organizations versus local nonprofits? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? Leaving a sum to a big organization, that donation, while it's definitely useful and appreciated, giving it to a local nonprofit, that same sum of money may have a much larger impact on a local nonprofit. Yeah. So again, it's depending on what type of imprint do you want to leave on that. And again, the last thing, do you want recognition or do you want anonymity for the situation? I know people that really, they want to get that recognition, for doing that, which is perfectly fine. Some people want to be anonymous. I have it happen, with clients that, hey, my aunt, who was, single our life, never had any kids. I just found out that she left $500,000 to me. Now that's not anonymous, but it certainly was a surprise for the situation. So again, it just depends on how you want to view that behest to an organization. So really, as you're looking at all these 4 areas, and if you've reached a point where you're thinking about giving, that's definitely something to celebrate. It means you've done the hard work of saving, planning, and building a strong financial future. You've got a solid foundation. So that next step is really thinking about and figuring out how to give in a way that truly reflects your values without jeopardizing your own security. That's key. You can't jeopardize your situation. So if you're asking yourself, is now the right time? Let's talk about it. Our team would love to help you make that decision with clarity and confidence and make the biggest impact possible with that behest.
Well, if you'd like to get in touch with Scott and the team at Elevated Retirement Group, all you have to do, if you're watching on YouTube, you can scan the QR code that you see on your screen right now, or find the link to schedule with Scott and the team in the description of today's show. It's also always linked for you at listentoscott.com. So a couple of easy ways for you to interact. Schedule a time at your convenience. You're going to go through a discovery call and the discovery process to see if you're a good fit to work with the team, ask your questions in this arena, and start moving the the ball forward in terms of how prepared you are for retirement and for some of these nuanced parts of planning for your financial future, the leaving a legacy, these kinds of questions about passing money on to kids and grandkids, all those other nuances. If you want that type of relationship with an advisor, then the Elevated Retirement Group team is a great place to start. Again, schedule your discovery call with one of those methods that we mentioned a moment ago. And Scott, thanks for guiding us through a great episode today. We'll see you next time.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Walter.
All right, take care. That's Scott and Walter. We'll see you again on Your Retirement Elevated.
Are you on the path to retirement but feel uncertain about your direction? Don't let myths and misconceptions cloud your journey. Before stepping into a lengthy retirement, gain clarity and confidence with a complimentary financial review. Schedule a conversation with Scott Dugan. It's completely free. Just click the link in the description below or call us at 913-393-4724. Let's start a conversation about what's most important to you as you plan for a successful retirement.
This video has been prepared for educational and marketing purposes only. The information in this video is general in nature, does not constitute personalized investment advice, and does not provide a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. All investments involve risk, and different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk. There can be no assurance that any specific investment strategy will be profitable or suitable to you. Additionally, although information presented in this video is believed to be factual and up to date, we do not guarantee its accuracy. You should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation and should consult a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies mentioned in this video. Investment advisory services are offered through Elevated Capital Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC. Registration as an investment advisor does not constitute an endorsement of Elevated Capital Advisors LLC by securities regulators, nor does it indicate that the firm has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Insurance advice and products may be offered by a third-party insurance producer, which may be affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC and Elevated Capital Advisors LLC. Walter Storholt and Third Wheel Media LLC receive compensation for their assistance in preparing and hosting this video.